Hello everyone, a very warm good morning and welcome to today's class. Today we are going to read lesson 6 My Childhood from class 9 English textbook Beehive. This lesson is taken from APJ Abdul Kalam's autobiography Wings of Fire. APJ Abdul Kalam was not only a scientist but also a great statesman. This chapter we are going to read is entitled My Childhood. This chapter is taken from APJ Abdul Kalam's autobiography, Wings of Fire. This chapter tells us about APJ Abdul Kalam's childhood. He was the President of India and a great scientist too. Here, in this lesson, he talks about his upbringing, his parents and siblings. He tells us about his friends and all those things that influenced his childhood. Well, if you are ready, let's start the lesson. The name of the lesson is entitled My Childhood. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. APJ Abdul Kalam is talking to us about his childhood. He was born into a middle-class Tamil family and his place of birth Rameshwaram is an island town in the state of Tamil Nadu in the Bay of Bengal. Today we know this state as Tamil Nadu, but when he was born, at that time the state was known as Madras state. My father, Jainalabdin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. Here he tells us about his father. His father's name was Jainalabdin. He had two disadvantages. He had neither much formal education nor much wealth. He did not have formal education and wealth. Despite these disadvantages, although he had these disadvantages, he also had good qualities. He possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He possessed great innate wisdom means he was naturally wise, he was naturally clever, he was naturally wise, intelligent, and he possessed a great true generosity of spirit. That means he was generous. He was highly generous. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiamma. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. In this paragraph, he speaks to us about his mother. His mother's name was Ashiamma. APJ Abdul Kalam's mother also was generous and kind-hearted. Just as his father was generous and kind-hearted, the same way APJ Abdul Kalam's mother Ashiamma also was kind-hearted and generous. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day. APJ Abdul Kalam tells us that he could not remember how many people she fed every day. He could not remember the exact number of people she fed every day. That is, she gave food to many people every day. But I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. But he tells us that he was sure that a greater number of people from outside, I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us. That is, greater number of people from outside ate with us, ate with Abdul Kalam's family than the total number of members in their family. The picture shows Abdul Kalam's childhood. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. Okay, in this paragraph, he tells us about his appearance as a child. I was one of many children. He was not the only child of his parents. He had brothers and sisters, and he was one of many children in the family. And his appearance was, he was not tall. He was a short boy with rather undistinguished looks. He did not have extraordinary looks. He was only a common boy, just like any other boy in the neighborhood. He was a short boy with undistinguished looks, with ordinary looks, born to tall and handsome parents. But both his parents were tall and handsome. His parents were good looking. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. And we know he also tells us about the place, about the house where he lived. He lived in his ancestral house. And he also tells us that the house was built in the middle of the 19th century. In this paragraph, he tells us about his looks as well as the place where he lived. His looks, he was short and he had undistinguished looks. He also tells that his parents were both tall and handsome. He lived in his ancestral home. The ancestral house was built in the middle of the 19th century. On this slide, you can see a picture of his ancestral home. It was a fairly large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. So his ancestral home is situated on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. It was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a Pakka house. It was made of limestone and bricks. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. My father was austere, means my father was simple. My simple father, he led a simple life. He did not go for any comforts or luxuries. He did not want any comforts and luxuries. He always led a simple life. But however, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. Even if he led a simple life, he made sure that the children were given all necessities. Necessities in the sense food, medicine and clothes. He made sure that his children got all the necessities in life, such as food, medicine and clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. In fact, really, Abdul Kalam was very happy that his childhood was very safe. That is, he was provided whatever he wanted. He was provided all the material things he required, and also his childhood was safe emotionally. Materially, in the sense, in terms of things like clothes, food, medicine, he got everything he needed. Emotionally means in terms of love and affection. His parents loved him too much. His parents loved him a lot, so his childhood was secure both materially and emotionally. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. When the Second World War broke out, Abdul Kalam was 8 years old. The Second World War started in 1939. That time Abdul Kalam was 8 years old. That means he was born in the year 1931. For reasons I have never been able to understand, as a child he could not understand why. The reason, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. What happened? Sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. There came a demand for tamarind seeds in the market, in the Rameshwaram market. All shopkeepers bought tamarind seeds. Tamarind seeds were in great demand. Abdul Kalam did not know the reason behind that. But anyhow, tamarind seeds had great demand in the market. So what did Abdul Kalam do? He used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. The picture shows tamarind seeds, okay. So there was demand for, what kind of demand? There was a huge demand for tamarind seeds in the market. So Abdul Kalam, every day he would collect tamarind seeds, he would sell in the market. He would sell to which shop? He would sell the seeds to a provision shop on the Mosque Street. His house was on the Mosque Street. All of you know, we read earlier. So there was a provision shop on the Mosque Street. So every day he would go outside, he would collect tamarind seeds and he would sell the tamarind seeds to a provision shop on the Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. How much he would earn one day by selling tamarind seeds? He would earn 1 anna. So he would earn a mere sum of 1 anna, which equals 6 paise. 1 anna equals 6 paise at that time. Okay, so when he addresses it, he tells he would earn the princely sum of 1 anna. So he addresses it as a princely sum. That is something very great and valuable. Princely sum means something very great and valuable. That is, he tells it was a great sum. It was a valuable amount. Why? Because at that time, it meant a lot of money to him. As a child in 1939, in that year, at that time, 1 anna meant a lot of money to him. So he calls it as a princely sum. he addresses the amount of 1 anna as a princely sum because at that time it was a great amount to him. It was a lot of money to him, so he calls it a princely sum. So with this, we are concluding today. The rest we will start in the next class. We will learn in the next class. Thank you.